Viewer discretion advised. This case is based on true events. The streets of Perugia were quiet that night. A hilltop city narrow stone lanes. Shadows clinging to every corner. Meredith Kirker walked home to her shared apartment after a night out with friends, the kind of evening that should have ended with laughter and sleep. Instead, it ended with silence. It was November 1st, 2007. The air was cold, her roommates were out. The lights in the house across the way glowed faintly through fog. Meredith locked the door behind her. Nothing seemed unusual, not yet. The next morning, something felt wrong. No answer at her door. No sound from her phone. Her British friends called police, who arrived at the small cottage on Via della Pergola. Inside, they found broken glass, blood in the bathroom, and a locked bedroom door. When officers forced it open, the scene froze them. Meredith Kirker, 21 years old, gone. The city's peace cracked like the window they'd just shattered. Within hours, suspicion swirled Amanda Knox, her American roommate, Raffaele Salicito, Amanda's boyfriend, and a man named Rudy Guede, who had fled the country days later. 3 names. 3 stories, no one telling the same version twice. The media tore through the details like wolves. Photos of Amanda smiling became evidence, rumors twisted into headlines. Italy's most beautiful city became its most watched crime scene. Everyone wanted an answer, no one wanted the truth. In the months that followed, theories changed by the hour. Investigators argued, lawyers performed for cameras. And in the middle of it all, Meredith, forgotten behind the noise. She was the reason everyone was there, yet her name came last. Years of trials followed, convictions overturned. Retrials ordered in the end. Rudy Guede was the only one to serve time. He said he'd been there. He said he didn't kill her. But the details never fit, like a puzzle missing its final piece. The house on Via della Pergola still stands. Students still pass it on their way to class. They lower their voices as they walk by, as if the walls can hear. Inside, the air feels heavy, the kind that never really leaves. And if you stand outside when the fog rolls in, you can almost hear it. A door closing, footsteps on tile, the quiet breath of a night that should have ended differently. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Viewer discretion advised. This case is based on true events. The Masai Mara, endless grass, golden light, and silence that feels ancient. In September 1988, 28-year-old wildlife photographer Julie Ward drove into that silence alone. She wasn't afraid. She'd come for elephants, for sunsets, for the thrill of the wild. But what she found instead was something much darker, a secret the savannah would never give back. Julie was bold, independent, and meticulous. She'd been traveling through Kenya on a dream trip, capturing the kind of images that made her feel alive. Her father, John Ward, said she was happiest with a camera in her hands and dust on her boots. She was supposed to return to Nairobi on September 6th. She never did. When Julie didn't check in, her father flew to Kenya himself. He drove the same road she'd taken, rough, isolated, the kind that stretches into nowhere. Her burned-out car was found deep in the reserve, miles from the nearest ranger post. Inside, her belongings were scattered. The official explanation came fast. A lion attack, they said. An accident, nothing to see. But John Ward saw everything that didn't fit. The bones weren't scattered like prey. There were burn marks, deliberate, cruel. The kind that spoke of fire and fear, not fangs. He refused to leave until the truth came out. The more he asked, the more doors closed. Kenyan authorities changed reports. Witnesses vanished. Evidence disappeared. Someone wanted the story buried beneath the dust. Months later, under pressure from the British government, a second investigation began. It uncovered what the first one had hidden: knife wounds, signs of human involvement, a timeline that had been rewritten. Julie hadn't been attacked by animals. She'd been silenced by people. Rumors spread of government officials, secret meetings, and a cover-up reaching higher than anyone dared to admit. John Ward spent decades fighting them, one man against an entire system. He wrote letters, stood in courtrooms, walked through the same fields where his daughter had taken her last photographs. He said he could still feel her there, in the wind, in the quiet. To this day, no one has been convicted for Julie's murder. Her father still calls it unfinished business. The savannah still swallows secrets, the way it swallows sunlight at dusk. And somewhere out there, beyond the tall grass and the circling vultures, the echoes of her camera shutter linger. A sound too small to shake a government, but too loud for silence to erase. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Viewer discretion advised. This case is based on true events. New York City, 1995. Winter closing in. Streetlights flickering over cracked sidewalks. Somewhere in a small apartment in Brooklyn, a little girl's voice went quiet, and the city didn't hear it until it was too late. Her name was Eliza Esquerdo, 6 years old. Dark curls, bright eyes, shy smile. Her teachers said she loved fairy tales, believed in magic and kindness and happy endings. But her story wasn't written that way. Alyssa had once lived safely with her father, a quiet man who adored her. When he died, the court sent her back to her mother, a woman with a record, a temper, and a trail of warnings no one followed. Neighbors heard shouting. Teachers saw bruises. Letters were written, calls made, but every system that should have protected Alyssa turned away. The building she lived in was gray, forgotten, filled with the hum of broken heaters and locked doors. Inside one of those rooms, her world grew smaller every day. No laughter, no stories, just fear that came like clockwork. And still no one came. On November 22nd, police were called to the apartment. A neighbor had heard crying that stopped too suddenly. Officers arrived to find silence. Behind that door was a scene that broke New York's heart and its conscience. The media descended like storm clouds. Reporters called her the little angel who believed in love. They showed her school photo on every screen, a child smiling, unaware of what the world would take from her. And for once, the city stopped moving long enough to feel it. Alyssa's death forced New York to look at itself, at every missed call, every ignored report, every empty promise. Politicians called it a failure of mercy. Laws were rewritten. A new system was born in her name, the Alyssa's Law, meant to make sure no child was ever hidden away in silence again. But laws don't bring back laughter. They don't erase the echoes left behind in that small, gray apartment. Some nights, people walking past the old building swear they hear a faint humming, like a child singing to herself in the dark. Soft, hopeful, and heartbreakingly small. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Viewer discretion advised. This case is based on true events. Ocilla, Georgia, population, just over 3,000. The kind of place where people leave their doors unlocked, where everyone knows everyone, and secrets shouldn't last long. But one secret has haunted that town for nearly 2 decades. Her name was Tara Grinstead, 30 years old. A high school teacher, beauty pageant coach, and the kind of person who made others stand a little taller. She loved her students, her routines, and the quiet rhythm of small-town life. But on the night of October 22nd, 2005, everything changed. Tara spent that Saturday at a local pageant, smiling for photos and cheering her girls on. Afterward, she stopped by a friend's barbecue, laughing, relaxed, a normal night. She left around 11 p.m. That was the last time anyone saw her. Sunday morning, her car sat in the driveway unlocked, her cell phone, purse, and keys gone. Inside, her bed was neatly made, but one lamp was shattered. Police found a single latex glove in the yard, glowing white under the porch light. The rest was silence. The town searched for weeks. Helicopters circled, posters covered telephone poles. Everyone wanted to help, but the more they looked, the less they found. Rumors grew faster than evidence. A jealous ex-boyfriend, a stalker, maybe someone from school. But every lead ran cold. For years, her case became a ghost story whispered in Ocilla. Kids grew up hearing about the teacher who vanished, as if she'd simply walked into the Georgia night and disappeared into thin air. Then, in 2017, 12 years later, a confession cracked the quiet. A man named B.O. Dukes told investigators his friend, Ryan Duke, had killed Tara and that they'd burned her body in a pecan orchard miles outside town. The truth had been hiding in plain sight the whole time. One of the men had once been her student. The orchard was searched for days. They found fragments, bone, ash, tiny pieces of what was left of a life stolen too soon. Ryan Duke was arrested and later convicted. B.O. Dukes went to prison for helping hide the crime. The town finally had its answer. But answers don't bring peace, only a quieter kind of grief. Every October, flowers appear on Tara's porch. No one knows who leaves them. Maybe it's someone who remembers her laughter, her kindness, the way she made that small town shine a little brighter. Or maybe it's the town itself still trying to say sorry for taking 12 long years to hear her voice again. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Viewer discretion advised. This case is based on true events. Ireland, March 26, 1993. A soft rain falls over Dublin, the kind that blurs lights and memories. 26-year-old Annie McCarrick pulls her coat tight and steps off the bus near the Wicklow Mountains. She's new here, an American teacher chasing history, folklore, and the promise of a quieter life. But that afternoon, the trail goes cold. Annie was bright, friendly, curious about everything. She'd been studying Irish culture for years, dreaming of living among the hills and old stone streets. That Friday, she told friends she might head to the coast, maybe to the pub in Enniskerry called Johnny Fox's. It was supposed to be a short trip, just a drink, some music, and a bus ride home. She never made it back. When she didn't appear for work the next morning, friends began calling around. Her apartment was neat, nothing missing but her purse and coat. Her bank card untouched, her passport still on the table. The Gardaí found the last confirmed sighting, Annie in a cafe on Sandymount Road around 3 p.m., smiling, alone. After that, only shadows. Reports came from locals who swore they'd seen her later that night near Johnny Fox's pub, talking to a tall man in a wax jacket. No one knew his name. No one saw her leave. When police searched the area, the mist had already swallowed whatever clues were left. It was as if the rain itself had washed her away. Weeks turned into years missing. Posters faded on lampposts. Her parents flew from New York, walking those same streets, handing out flyers until their voices broke. They begged for answers, but Ireland had gone quiet, polite, sympathetic, silent. Rumors filled the silence. Some said Annie had been lured into a car. Others whispered about a serial predator who'd hunted women in the area. Every lead ended the same way, in fog, denial, and dead ends. In 2023, 30 years after she vanished, Gardaí officially reclassified her case as a homicide. They believe Annie met someone that day, someone who never intended to let her go. But without a body, without evidence, the truth remains buried somewhere in the green hills above Dublin. When the wind moves through Wicklow at dusk, locals say it carries her name, faint, almost kind. And somewhere out there, in the space between truth and legend, the American girl who loved Ireland is still walking home through the rain. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. Viewer discretion advised. This case is based on true events. Chapel Hill, North Carolina. A college town where laughter spills out of dorm windows and nothing bad is supposed to happen. But in September 2012, something did. Something that still haunts those quiet brick streets. Faith Hedgepeth was 19 years old. A biology student at UNC, proud member of her sorority, and the kind of person who made others feel lighter just by walking into a room. She dreamed of becoming a pediatrician, helping kids like the ones she'd grown up with on the reservation back home. She had everything ahead of her until the night of September 6th. That evening, Faith and her roommate, Corinna, went to a campus party. It was loud, crowded, ordinary. They left just after midnight, stopping at a drive-thru on the way home. Surveillance cameras caught Faith smiling, hair pulled back, eyes tired but happy. It was the last footage ever taken of her. By 11 a.m. the next morning, her roommate returned to their apartment, and what she found made time stop. Faith was gone, not missing, gone. The apartment door was unlocked, a laptop open on the couch, and a handwritten note on the floor beside the bed. It read, "I'm not stupid. Jealousy is all I have." The words made no sense, not then and not now. They were written on a fast food bag, scrawled in haste, angry, uneven. Police arrived, the street filled with flashing lights, and the college town's peace shattered like glass. Detectives found a red plastic cup in the kitchen sink. Inside it, DNA. Male, unknown, but it would take nearly a decade before science caught up. In the years that followed, the investigation moved like a ghost. Whispers spread across campus, rumors of love triangles, jealous friends, and secrets buried under silence. Faith's friends lit candles every year, their faces older, their voices softer, still waiting for someone to speak. Then, in 2021, 9 years later, an arrest. Miguel Enrique Olivares, a man who had once lived nearby, matched the DNA from that red cup. No forced entry, no robbery, no random break-in. It had been personal from the start. He denied it all. He still does. Faith's family still visits her grave in Hollister. Her father leaves flowers. Her mother still can't say her name without breaking. The note, those 5 words, remains locked away in evidence, haunting everyone who's read it. Some nights, when students walk past the old apartment complex, they say it feels colder there, as if the air itself remembers. And sometimes, when the wind moves just right, the paper taped to the memorial flutters, as if trying to say what Faith never got to. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow.